the energy that you put out is also what people receive. So I just feel like people can feel that and they're not going to be, interested in your product kind of thing.
Hi, I'm Kim Tolson and I'm the traveling therapist. It's my passion to teach therapists how to navigate online private practices and multiple income streams so they can travel the world. I'm a digital nomad with a virtual insurance-based private therapy practice and a multi-six-figure coaching business. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship and developing tools that can help therapists live an adventurous lifestyle. In this podcast, I will discuss my journey as a digital nomad. I'll chat with other traveling therapists and help you navigate the complexities of running an online insurance-based practice. I'm so glad to have you with me on this journey. Building a private practice can be challenging. I know for me, when I was starting out, I had no idea how to get referrals. I had no idea how to manage paperwork. I knew nothing about insurance billing. The whole process was really daunting. Building a private practice can be challenging, to say the least. I remember when I was starting out, I had no idea how to get referrals. I had no idea how to navigate insurance. I had no idea even what paperwork was required. So growing a caseload, navigating insurance, and managing billing and paperwork all take significant amounts of time. And that's all in addition to delivering great care to your clients. That's why Alma gives clinicians the tools they need to build a thriving private practice. When you join their insurance program, you can get credentialed within 45 days and access to enhanced reimbursement rates. They also handle all the paperwork from eligibility checks to claim submissions, and they guarantee payment within 2 weeks of each appointment. So in addition to their insurance program, Alma also offers time-saving tools and administrative support, so you can spend less time on paperwork and more time delivering great care to your clients and traveling the world. Learn more about building a thriving private practice with Alma at helloalma.com/Kim. That's hello, ALMA.com/KYM to get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. I have a very special guest today. I'm super excited. I've got Addie Wieland back with us. She was, I think, the first or second guest on the podcast. And I fell in love with her back then because she's like living in an RV with her family and navigating all of that. So I had her on as a guest. And at that time, I started the Traveling Therapist membership. The Wandering Wellness Collective is what we decided to name it. But I invited Addie on with me to be the traveling coach of the membership. So she also comes into the membership and helps the members, but she does presentations around different topics. So I was like, let's have you back on the podcast and kind of do an update about you and your life and what you're doing now with multiple income streams and all of that. So welcome back. I'd love for you to just tell everybody about you in case they didn't listen to that first or second episode we did. I can't remember which one it was, but let me have you just introduce yourself and
thanks
about you.
Thanks for having me. That seems like so long ago, but I wonder how long ago was that?
Like January 2022.
Yeah, so
I started the podcast like 2 months, I think, before we even left to become digital nomads because I was like preparing for it.
Right. Yeah.
We're full on, but then it was like
that's crazy.
Getting advice from you about it.
That's crazy. Yeah, it seems like a long time ago, but I don't think it was that long ago. But yes, my name is Addie Wieland, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I have a fully online private practice. Kind of like the backstory that Kim was talking about is that me and my family, I have 2 kids, a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, almost 3 and 6. It's crazy. But we live in a 5th wheel and travel around the U.S. We've been doing that. I think it's like coming up. I think it's 4 years that we've lived in the RV, but we lived in it for like a year before we traveled. So 3 years that we've been traveling. We are now about to embark on a brand new adventure, which I can talk to you guys about if you want me to. But yeah, we've decided to actually So we're back in Texas. Texas is our home base. We travel for about 9 months out of the year. Then we come back to Texas during the winter and just chill and hang out with family and stuff for the holidays. So we're back in Texas now, and we are about to start getting everything out of the RV to sell it. So if you're interested in an RV, sell it in the truck. And we are going to like fully minimize, like totally go down to the bare minimum and start international travel, hopefully next year. There's a little bit of change in our plans because my sister's pregnant, so we're postponing it a little bit, which is exciting. But so probably like May of next year, we'll fully launch into international travel, although we're thinking about doing some smaller trips on this continent, like to stay kind of close to home, I guess, in the meantime, during those 6 months, but fully launch in May and go international, and really want to do like Southeast Asia. We're doing a trip with Boundless Life, which I could talk about at some point or put the link in. It's basically just where you join and they hook you up with an apartment and school. And we're doing that in Greece in September. So our plan is, to just kind of travel. Our tentative plan is to travel for about 2 years internationally overseas. And then our big plan is we would love to get a boat, like a catamaran. My husband's really into boats. Wow. We looked at them before we left and they're like amazing. So that's where we're manifesting that, to get a boat and travel in the boat for a little bit after we're done international. Wow. I have all these dreams.
Yeah, is he a sailor? Or are you guys sailors? Like,
we're not really sailors, which we had never really stepped foot in well, it's not true. Maybe we had stepped foot in an RV, but like he had never really driven one. Like, but he's very, with stuff like that, he has experience with boats, not like that big of a boat, but does have experience with boats. He had a boat growing, we had a boat before the kids, so he has experience with that, but like sailing is a whole different thing. Actually, when we're in Greece, they do sailing lessons there, so we're hoping to do some sailing lessons there to kind of learn a little bit. But yeah, so we're excited about the future.
Gosh. So Greece is set in stone, but I just love hearing you talk about this flexibility. Like, well, we were going to do that, but sister's pregnant, so we've sort of rerouted, and we're just going to kind of stay nearby just in case. That's really cool that you could be so flexible with it,
Right. I feel like that's the benefit of this lifestyle. Is we had plans to leave in March originally and do Southeast Asia first before we did Greece. But yeah, it was kind of a miracle baby. It's a big deal in our family. So we're postponing until the baby comes in June so we could be here. And we're trying to look into like world schooling pop-ups, which are like for the kids, where you can kind of join and they have things for like a short limited amount of time. So there's a couple like on this continent, and like one in Guatemala that we're interested in. So we might do like smaller stuff. Yeah, but kind of stay again like this side of the world.
So it's like world schooling pop-ups, like, oh, they're going to be doing like a program in Guatemala for 3 months. So we're just going to hop down there and let the kids, or I guess the 5-year-old, and maybe the littler one too. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on the age. So by the time they'll be 3 and 6, kind of by the time all this stuff ramps up, because they're about to be. So they'll be a little bit older. But yeah, the one in Guatemala is like a 4-week program, and it sounds really cool. They just really immerse you in the culture. They like teach you all this stuff. I think it's like 9 to, sometimes it's usually like just a half day, Monday through Friday, where the kids kind of go, and I think parents can go too, and just like connection with other families, but also kind of like an immersive cultural experience. It looks really cool. And there's pop-ups all over. As I'm searching international more, like there's this world schooling pop-up, that's what they call it. It's kind of a big deal. So they have them all over. We thought about joining one in Southeast Asia, and actually you'd like travel with the family, and it was like month-long programs, but it just didn't work out with the timing.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
You just literally Google world schooling pop-up and the stuff will come up.
Yeah. Yes. And there's a Facebook group and a newsletter where I've actually talked to the creator, but she kind of like looks at reviews before adding in the different world schooling pop-ups to like her list, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So cool. Like all the different, possibilities with it. I just love it. And Boundless Life is like a whole nother like cool program.
Let's talk that a little bit. Like before we get into it, I do want to say we've got a kick-ass webinar coming up soon where Addie covers all things family, digital nomad travel. We'll talk about that a little bit, but I'm guessing Boundless Life is part of that. But I would love to just tell them about that, because when you told me about it, I was like, that's the coolest thing I think I've ever heard. That's the way
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. And actually, they kind of inspired my coaching program, because I just think like basically what they are, the way that I look at it is, if you want to be a digital nomad family or a traveling family, but you're kind of unsure, you've never been to that country before, you don't really know how to find accommodations, like you're nervous about which area to go in, and then maybe both parents work, or you need kind of childcare, or you need like some sort of schooling option, which I know a lot of people struggle with. In our household, my husband stays home, so it's not an issue for us, but still, it's kind of nice just to have a plug-in kind of like school. So this organization called Boundless Life, I think they're fairly new, like maybe 5 years old. They offer what I see is like a turnkey, like you just pay and here it is everything, in a country. You plop down, you're set up in a country. So they offer, this is all within like what you pay. So they offer accommodations, like different apartments, like 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, I believe. With that accommodation, I mean, this is just like an extra, but like people come to clean your apartment once a week, which I think is, so they do that. And it's all within like, walking distance, depending on the location of like the co-working space and the school which they also provide. So then they provide a 24-hour co-working space. And usually it's like a really beautiful one. Like it's nice, so it's kind of cool. And like the one in Greece, I was talking to them about what I do. So they specifically are reserved a private room for me, like for that cohort. It's a 3-month cohort, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Like our internet, so you could do like private coaching and to your clients, all that. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Also, the apartments have internet, but if you wanted to work at the co-working space, they said they would reserve this room for me, which I thought was really awesome. Yeah, private room for me in the co-working space. Yeah, so they really work with you. So a 24-hour co-working space with really fast internet. The apartment also has internet. And then a school, which is like the huge draw. So I think it's like they call it like a Finnish school, kind of like Montessori style is what I see. It's not like a sit down, like strict school, but provide a school. And I want to say, and also like a daycare. The ages are like 0 to 12, although they just opened a trailblazing program, which is 13 to 14-year-olds, because a lot of people were like, they wanted their older kids to be involved. Yeah. So they provide a school that's Monday through Friday, like 9 to 3, or like pretty much all day. Then on top of that, they provide like pretty much, again, a turnkey community. So you go, I think it's maybe 20 other families, don't quote me on that though, that are in this cohort. So you start at the same time and end at the same time. So like ours will be September, October, November. It's zero Greece. And they provide, like I said, all of these different activities that you can join. You don't have to, but I mean, it's fun. So I think they do like soccer, like a couple times a week. They do adult, like only like dinners and stuff where they provide childcare, which I think is amazing. Yeah. So they do a couple of those. They have like certain outings every day. Like I know in Greece, they do yoga by the water, like every Wednesday. They do like hikes and, during the week. So all these like built-in activities that you can join. I know 2 families that have actually to Syros, Greece, and just absolutely were blown away, loved it, like couldn't say enough good things about it, just how like responsive they are and connected and like all the things. So yeah, right now they have Syros, Greece, they have Bali, which I really wanted to do. Wow. My husband really loves Greece, so we did Greece, but Syros, Greece, and they try to do it in not like kind of off the beaten path, but still kind of cool locations, which I think is kind of cool. So Bali, I can't remember where it is in Bali now. Sonora, Bali. They have one in Portugal, and they have one in one other place that I can't think of. So I think they're adding like 2 more other locations. Another one in a non-Schengen country, so they can have longer cohorts. But I can't remember where. Maybe I can't remember where that one was.
Can people go if they don't have kids?
I know, that's what people are saying. It's unfortunately you have to have a kid enrolled to go to it, but it is a pretty cool like concept.
That is awesome. That was really cool. Oh my gosh, how exciting! So then after that, you guys are just going to kind of pick up and then do Southeast Asia and at your own pace, whatever you decide to do over there.
Yeah, so we're kind of playing it by like visa, so we're paying attention, or we're trying to like pay attention, to how long we stay. We are attempting to do, we just have found, and I talk about this a lot in the webinar because I think this is so important, is finding like a pace for your family that's going to work, and I feel like you can speak to that too, right? Like some people
Yeah.
prefer like the quick paced ones, but some people need, I think, slow, they call it slow mad,
I was gonna say, I'm getting way more comfortable with the slow travel than that like hop
Yeah.
place. Like I'm too old or something.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that can get old really fast. And I feel like that's what we did like our first year, and it kind of burnt us out and we had to like reassess. So we're really trying to do slower, kind of just picking one location that seems, pretty good, and, stay like a month or 2 months, or again, whatever. It's kind of hard in some of these because, there, especially Southeast Asia, you kind of want to check out the cities, but then you really want to check out the islands, so we're trying to do like one kind of in a city and then one kind of month or whatever, however the visa allows, kind of closer to the island, in Thailand specifically.
Going in network with insurance can be tough. For example, waiting a year to get credentialed in some cases. Filing all the right paperwork is time consuming and tedious, and even after you're done, it can take months to get credentialed and start seeing clients. That's why Alma makes it easy and financially rewarding to accept insurance. When you join the insurance program, you can get credentialed within 45 days and access to enhanced reimbursement rates. They also handle all the paperwork from eligibility checks to claim submissions, and they guarantee payment within 2 weeks of each appointment. Once you've joined Alma's insurance program, you can see clients in your state of licensure regardless of where you're working from. This is particularly exciting for me as a traveling therapist, as I know it is probably for you too. You can literally be anywhere and still see your clients through Alma. Learn more about building a thriving private practice with Alma at helloalma.com/Kim. That's hello, ALMA.com/KYM to get started. Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. So
I love it.
yeah, that's what we're doing. We're super excited. We can't wait, and just in the planning stages.
Yeah. I think for us, we're finding like probably like every 3 weeks or so, we're kind of like, right, we're ready. We're ready
Right.
right now.
Right.
We've walked around all the places. We've eaten at all the restaurants, It's like,
Right.
okay, let's go to the next place. But yeah, that week to week stuff is just exhausting. Like I was so burned out, just trying to do it real quick and work and, do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, so can we talk a little bit about, I know you're doing coaching already, but you've sort of recently, like, how would we say it, like redefined your niche or, changed your coaching role. I'd love to just talk about that a little bit because people ask me that all the time. How do you pick what you want to do these multiple income streams? Like, how do you pick your niche? How do you decide all this stuff? So would you be open to just sharing about that process? Like you were kind of doing one thing and then you switched to something else. And
Yeah. No.
it's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So, yes. So currently I'm in a coaching program, Carly Hill's coaching program, which I love and highly recommend to everybody. And she teaches therapists how to, pivot from a therapy to coaching. So I'm adding coaching or adding a totally separate coaching business. It has to be separate. So in that process, in picking my niche, I chose one, and I was pretty much like 2 months into it, or maybe longer. So I was pretty involved into it. And I, just one day, I can't really remember, but I think it was like one day I just kind of like woke up and I just had been feeling a little bit off with it. Like, like if your energy isn't in it. And I do feel like I think I chose it because I saw a need and I was like, this is a big need. I don't really see a lot of people doing it. It was working with female attorneys. My mother's an attorney. And I thought like, there's a need. There's not a lot of people doing it. So why not me do it? Right. And I think some people can choose it that way, but I feel like my heart wasn't like fully in it and I wasn't fully aligned. And I think it can be done, but I think it's a little bit harder when you're not your ideal client or can't, really so much to your ideal client in that way. So I was just struggling with it a little bit, but I was already fully in it and I really didn't want to like redo everything. And I just had a lot of conflicting feelings about it. Actually, I did a call with Nicole Holst, who Kim knows and introduced me with. She does like tarot and intuition readings, and I really love her. And yeah, so I did a call with her, which was great. And pretty much it's kind of like that when you already know, but you just
Yes.
kind of need that push, that's kind of what that call was. I already knew. And honestly, had it gone the other way, I would have been disappointed, which, had
Tells
she,
you
I
everything.
had, yeah, I had like the card say maybe like to stay, like I would have been bummed. So then you probably already know that you probably should go. So
Mhm.
that call was a good like push and just, I really enjoyed that call with her. And it kind of brought up why I maybe chose that niche in the first place, which was more like personal. I really won't get into it because it's kind of like personal history, but
Yeah, yeah.
so I just kind of like released that. And then when I was thinking about what other niches to go, I had created a list of different niches that I could do when I very first started the coaching program. And, attorneys was on there, but also working with families like mine, like digital nomad families, traveling families was also on there. So when I was kind of pivoting and I was looking at this, I was kind of debating between two. One kind of like working in a different capacity with my therapy clients, and then the digital nomad family. And then when I was just talking to my coach, Carly, we're just kind of like talking about it, kind of like the digital nomad family scared me just a little bit because it was just, just a little bit different. And I'm learning as I'm going since I'm doing like this international. So yeah, I just decided to go with digital nomad families. And honestly, I feel so much more aligned with it. Like kind of me and Kim earlier were talking about my Instagram. It's really easy for me to come up with content and like talk about things. And again, I think it's because I am my ICA and I literally have been there in terms of feeling burnt out with my family, of being overwhelmed with logistics, sometimes wanting to like give up on this lifestyle because it's too hard, doubting if I'm failing my kids because they're not in traditional school, don't have traditional friends per se, don't live in a house, like all of those things I have felt myself. So I feel really equipped to kind of talk about it and help people coach through it. And I'm super excited about it. And so, yeah, since I've switched, honestly, kind of when they say like when you're doing the right thing, it's just kind of a breeze to come up with things and do things. I feel like it's just been so much more aligned. So I'm super excited about it.
That's so cool. Yeah, I remember seeing you like post that. I was like, oh my God, that is perfect. So good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell my coaching clients all the time, if you're not like totally aligned and passionate about this thing, you might as well just move on to something else because you literally have to talk about this all day long, every day for like, the next like 10 years. Imagine when you talk about this like that for passionately for the next 10 years, you can't, it's going to be a chore. It's going to turn into a chore for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, and I feel just like, I'm since like diving into mindset and energy, Nicole, like it's, the energy that you put out is also what people receive. So I just feel like people can feel that and they're not going to be, interested in your product kind of thing. Yeah. But also that, yes, there's a lot of late nights. I am adding coaching to my already very thriving therapy business. So I'm talking like I work on my coaching business in the morning, I see my clients in the afternoon, evenings, and then I work on my coaching business again in the evening. So it's a lot of sacrifice and dedication. I do attempt, or so far, to try not to work on the weekends or like Friday, Saturday, I work a little bit on Sunday and like dedicate that to kid time. But yeah, you're right. If you're not in it, like you're going to start resenting it. And that's also not a good feeling to have towards it.
Totally. I still resent it sometimes, but
Yeah, that's true.
that, all this effort, because it's just is a lot of effort to keep it going and build an audience and all that stuff. But it helps that you really like what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So on the tail end of that, Addie being a coach in the traveling therapist membership and also, in the traveling therapist Facebook group, we do notice this trend over and over again. It's a huge pain point for people that want to be traveling therapists that have family. They just they can't do it. They don't know about the schooling, all the stuff that we're just talking about now. So that prompted us to do a webinar. So we actually have a webinar coming up. What is it? November 13th, 2023, right?
I think so. Yes.
I think that's what it is. It's a Monday at noon Eastern, and I'm super excited about it. Actually, I'll put the link down here if you guys want to attend. We'd love for you to attend. Do you just want to give a little tease for Addie, like what you're going to talk about there in case people are listening? They're like, oh my God, I want to have my family on the road. I have no idea how. It's totally terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. So the webinar is going to be about like how to thrive as a traveling family and not lose your sanity. And I was laughing when I was promoting it the other day because I was like, I've definitely been there where I've like lost my sanity a little bit, you know? So, if you think about being a parent, take away traveling, it can be very overwhelming, right? So, and especially a working parent or a single parent, like that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of stress. That's a lot of juggling. So, then if you throw on top traveling, yeah, that's are two, can be very stressful things. Of course, beautiful, wonderful, amazing, but like very stressful things. So the webinar is really just about how to balance it all, how to kind of figure it out, how to have your cake and eat it too, I guess if you want to think about it that way. And really just some little tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, kind of learning trial by error, right? Just jumping into the fire with this, really talking about knowing your why, kind of like what we're talking about with the coaching program, right? If you don't really know your why of why you're doing this as a family, I think you can get a little bit lost and, forget why you're doing that. And it can be easy to just want to stop doing it, right? So I think really knowing why are you doing this, and let's get down to like kind of values about why you're doing this. I think that's really important. So we're going to talk about that. We're definitely going to talk just about like logistical stuff like routines, because I think routine is huge for kids and for families and for people. So we're really going to just talk about routines and how to get like a good routine when your environment's always changing. I feel like that can be a little bit hard, right? But how to like build a good routine. So we're going to talk about that. Just about overall mental wellness, how to make time for yourself, your partner. I think that's one of the biggest things that was a huge struggle for my husband and I, is that when you live in a small space, and whether that's an RV or like an Airbnb or however your lifestyle is when you're traveling, and you're traveling, you don't have access to babysitters, right? I mean, you maybe do, but probably a lot of times you really don't. So there's not a lot of one-on-one time for date nights or even kind of time for yourself. So I'm really going to talk about how to like, what are some workarounds from that? What are some things you can do? Because I feel like that time away, having clear communication is so important when you're on the road, because it just can be very, very stressful not having any time to yourself.
I can't wait to hear that because yes, it's different. I mean,
Yeah.
you're throwing in like packing and airplanes and, being in countries where people don't speak English. It's well, on the couple, just trying to navigate it together. I mean, we're already stressed because it's stressful and
Right.
together, so I'm looking forward to that part of it for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to talk about all of that and just kind of, yeah, from experience, super exciting. I feel like a lot of families, either really want to do this lifestyle, but maybe have a little bit of like rose colored glasses of what it actually looks like. And not that I want to scare you, but I just want you to be eyes wide open, know your expectations, know how to manage it. I feel like that's so important. Know the realities of it. And then I feel like sometimes in my experience too, I've met a couple of families that have been on the road. I feel like sometimes with RV families, it's kind of like the 4-year mark, and then they either go off the road or maybe sometimes do international or do different things, but you can kind of get a little bit burnt out. I think especially if you're traveling too fast or different things. And so this webinar is also for families like that. Maybe you're feeling at the verge of feeling burnt out. Maybe you want to give up, and I would just say maybe just don't give up quite yet. Come to the webinar, see if there's some tips and tricks, to kind of help manage this lifestyle. I think the best thing about this lifestyle is so flexible, and there's literally so many ways you could do it. So I think just sometimes getting permission or getting ideas or a spark, how you can switch it up a little bit for your family can really help shift a lot of things. So that's for both families.
I love that so much. Yeah, I can't wait for the webinar. And if you're listening to this after the date, it's available. So you just click through and you can go watch it later because the recording will be available. But I'm sure it's going to be full of amazing tips to help you guys, because that's the goal, right? Is to help everybody make this as easy as possible so you can live that life of getting out there and seeing the world. So thanks, Addie. So how do people find you? Like if they want to just work with you around building their digital nomad family, how do they find you?
Yeah, so 2 ways. You can find me on Instagram. I am nomadically thriving on Instagram. We can link it in the chat. So there I post a lot of like fun reels, and I've lately been on a minimalist kick. So I'm promoting like different ways that you can try to like minimize your stuff, or if you're struggling with minimizing your stuff. So you can find me there. And then you can also find me. I'd love to have you join my Facebook group. So I have a Facebook group just for digital nomad families. It's called Digital Nomad Families United. You could also tag it. In that group, I offer some freebies, and then I go live every Tuesday to talk about different topics. This last time I just talked about like online income, because that's another huge question that a lot of families have. So give you some ideas of what to do with all of that stuff. So you find me those places.
I love it. Yeah. And I just love having you as the traveling coach for the membership and just hearing about your ventures. I cannot wait to hear about Southeast Asia and the Boundless Life, or what's it called?
Balanced life. Yeah.
Boundless Life program. That's so cool. Like, we're also thinking about Greece, like around that time frame. So, I was this morning, I couldn't sleep at like 4:00 this morning looking at Airbnbs and like the different islands, trying to figure out which is the best island. One's got good beaches, one's got a cute town, so it might be a little island hopping while we're down there. But
yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Our paths will cross.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun. Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Of course. Yes, happy to be here.
Thank you so much for listening to the Traveling Therapist podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to thetravelingtherapist.com, where you'll be able to learn more about my journey, the courses I've created for you, and other exciting resources to make your dreams become a reality. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your traveling therapist friends, subscribe to the podcast, and if you loved this episode, please leave a review.